So, today we are going to be talking about the Olympics. Every half hour between now and, I don't know, like 4 a.m. my time, every half hour there's going to be another team preview. Then I'm going to be waking up tomorrow morning early to get out a preview of the Germany versus Japan game. So, we are going to be doing a preview of every team, and I'm going to be making my predictions as well towards the end. So, you're going to be seeing pretty much maybe not 12 videos, but you're going to be seeing 8 videos in the next 4 hours. That is how much I'm going to be doing. I completely forgot to do these previews. I want to do a preview on every single team, men and women's, and then give my preview on the Olympics. So Australia are a team that I would consider a dark horse. And they are a team where, honestly, I think outside of South Sudan and Japan, maybe, I think most of the teams have a puncher's chance. Maybe Greece, I don't rate particularly highly. But Australia are a team where if they come out with silver, I'm not shocked. If they come out with gold, I would be absolutely shocked, but it's not out around possibility. If they come out with bronze, like they did the last Olympics, I would say you're kind of hoping. If you're an Australia fan, that's really what you're hoping for. So anyway, we have got right here, we've got the roster they have. So as far as their group is concerned, they are in Group A, which is a tough group. I'm not going to lie. Like, they have to come out with and beat Spain, Canada, and Greece. And not only that, you got to be top 3. If you're going to finish third, you can't get blown out. There's going to be a third place team in one of the groups that gets blitzed in a game. So you can afford to come third. The problem is, you come third, you're probably playing America. So that's where the issue is in the quarterfinals. So this first game is huge because Spain and Greece, the two best teams in this group are Canada and Australia. So you got to go and beat Spain. However, it's an early game. It's in France. Spanish fans are great. You're going to have the fans against you. So it really does come down to this game. If they lose this, they have to beat Greece because obviously a good team is going to come last in this group. That is the only issue. And this is a team that I actually really like. I like the way Australia play historically. I like their roster. As far as Australia is concerned, this is as stacked a roster as they've ever had. So Duop Reith, why did I think he was... I'm pretty sure Duop Reith, if I'm not mistaken, could have played for South Sudan if he wanted to. And again, you've got a NBL center, and that's kind of where they lack. Whereas in previous Olympics, as good as Jock Landale is, in previous Olympics, they had, like, Aaron Baines is your perfect FIBA big. Like, I think Jock Landale is a good player, but I don't know how great he is at the Olympic level. Like, how great he's going to be in FIBA, even in comparison to what Aaron Baines used to be. They used to have Andrew Bogut, so they used to have a lot, like, bigger bodies when they were, like, at their peak. But this Australia team can go toe for toe with any team guard-wise. Again, obviously, other New America talent-wise, but if you're looking, you've got Dante Exum, a good NBA rotational piece. Dellavedova, I don't see him doing much. I mean, who's he even playing for right now? Melbourne United. Like, look, I think Dellavedova is going to ride the bench. You've got Josh Green, who's a solid rotational piece in the NBA. You've got Patty Mills, and we all know when Patty Mills puts on an Australia jersey, he becomes one of the best players in the world. And Dyson Daniels, who I think, did he not like ride the bench in the World Cup, and now he's back into the rotation. And we have got your dark horse for MVP of the entire tournament, Josh Giddey. So Josh Giddey is, his game, he's going to be really good in Chicago. I'm just saying. But he does need the ball. And that's the only issue is, like, when he doesn't have the ball, he's not very good. And on this team, he's going to have the ball a lot. He does everything. Like, Josh Giddey on the court has no flaws. Like, as far as, like, the FIBA game is concerned. He is a big playmaking ball handler who's going to give you 15, 5, and 5 every game. He is a dark horse for MVP of the entire tournament. And we saw this team give Team USA a tough game. And the biggest thing about that game was that we saw, like, even though it was Team USA were not at their best, we did see, we saw Australia really give them trouble. And they came back. And that's the big thing, is that a lot of the times Team USA, when they get a big lead, it's very hard for a team to get back because of the pace and speed that they play at. And the fact is, when you're chasing a game, you're going to miss more shots. And if you're missing, Team USA are going to break and destroy you. But Australia fought back. And I think this team knows. You've got Paddy Mills, who's been there and done that for years. You've got Joe Ingles, who's going to be a very solid contributor. And you've got winners. And Dante Exum, NBA Finals this year. Matthew Dellavedova, champion. Joe Ingles, again, look, we all know Joe Ingles plays winning basketball. Does he have a ring? Did he play for Milwaukee? I need to check if Joe Ingles has a ring. He may or may not have a ring. I don't even know who he's playing for right now. He's obviously being a journeyman. He has a EuroLeague ring, I guess. Paddy Mills, champion. Josh Green, obviously finals. Josh Giddey, like 21 years old. Super young. Dyson Daniels, again, too young to start judging him on wins and losses. Jock Landale, again, quite young. And it's just a good team. This is a good team. If you're asking me for my predictions on this team, I'm going to call, in a bit of a shock, I'm going to call second in their group. I'm going to call second. And my predicted standings, I will make in my predictions. But I'm going to guess that Australia finished second in the group. And with the way this, like, first v second, I don't even know what way the quarterfinal draws are. But if you're looking at other groups, like, them finishing second in this group means you don't draw one of the top two first places. So it means you could potentially dodge America. And then obviously America and Serbia are in the same group. And I think if you finish second and you dodge America and Serbia and you're in Germany's group, which is, look, the way the Olympics are, it is, like, that is probably the weaker of the groups. You've got like Germany, Japan, South Sudan, Puerto Rico. Oh, Puerto Rico are in America's group. What am I talking about? And then France and Brazil. So, like, to be fair, there's no reason. I think the French are probably a weaker opposition. They've lost like 5 games in a row. I think they're there for the taking more so than, for example, a Germany or a Serbia. So it just really depends on the draw. My prediction for Australia is, Australians, you're not going to like this. Second in the group, out in the quarters. Anything can happen, though, out of the group. And the worst part is, I actually think this Australia team is one of the stronger Australia teams. It's just the talent pool's ridiculous. Like, if you look at the last Olympics, Germany didn't qualify. Serbia didn't qualify. Slovenia, literally with just Luka Doncic, got to the semi-final. France got to the final without as good a team as this year. USA's team not even close to this year. So it's just such a talented pool that my prediction for Australia is quarterfinals and out. But you never know. How is everybody doing? It is Mick Talks Hoops here, and we are going to be doing a preview of all of the Olympic teams. We've already done Australia, and every half an hour for the next, 4 hours, we're going to be going over the 8 teams that are playing tomorrow, and I'm going to be previewing all of the games, who the keys are, and who to look out for. So I'm probably not going to be live at all tomorrow, I'm not going to lie. I'm probably going to go to my parents', just try to, and I'll probably be live I could be live all day Sunday, but tomorrow is a serious day of basketball. That's all I'm going to be doing all day tomorrow. But the Spain team, this is probably the worst Spanish team we've seen in a while. But if you know anything about Spain, they just seem to get the job done. And this team is not redeemed or 2008 golden generation Spain. This is not edge of golden generation, but Marc Gasol's a superstar, and you've got Serge Ibaka in Spain of 2012. Heck, like, this isn't even 2016 Spain, but they just find a way to get it done. Like, this Spain team is almost entirely former NBA players, or players of that level. So you've got Alex Abrines, former NBA player, and former decent NBA player. Same with Willie Hernan Gomez. Is Garuba still in the league? Yeah, Garuba's still in the league. Sergio Llull is a guy that could have had a 15-year NBA career. Instead, He's 36 playing the Olympics. But he's still a bucket. Juancho, Bo Cruz, like Eurobasket. Was he MVP Eurobasket? Or was Willie MVP? I know Juancho won them basically won the final for them. Alberto Diaz playing for it's Malaga, isn't it? And Dario Bruzuela. Oh, did Juan Nunes get cut in the end? Oh, they must have cut Juan Nunes. If he didn't play Summer League. But you've still got, you've got 38-year-old Rudy Fernandez playing. Or 39-year-old Rudy Fernandez playing in his 6th Olympics. And he gets legitimate burn. I watched the qualifying tournament. He's getting burn. Santi Aldama, he is this year's, Patty Mills, Ricky Rubio type player that once they put on their national team jersey, become a superstar. And by the way, Santi Aldama's class. He's 23 years old. He's a real good NBA player. And he does everything. Santi Aldama is one of the more underrated NBA players. I'm just putting it out there. And, not in a similar way to a Larry Markkinen, but he's one of those guys that if he just happens to get into a situation where more is asked for him, not maybe all-star, but, if you watch international ball for years, everyone was saying that how good Larry Markkinen was. Whereas now you've got, Santi Aldama, who is in a similar mold where he's, he just looks so good at international level. You're surely at some stage in the NBA he's going to go and start giving you that. But one of their keys is Lorenzo Brown. So Lorenzo Brown obviously is not Spanish. This is he's a naturalized player, which means he's not Spanish. I'm pretty sure the first time he ever got into Spain, or he ever went to Spain, was to pick up his passport. But he is a elite guard. This is a guy that can go toe-to-toe with any NBA player. He's 33 years old. On any given game, he can go toe-to-toe with any NBA player. And you've seen it. Everyone's watched NBA games where a point guard that's nowhere, that's a borderline starting point guard is outplayed a superstar. It can happen. And on any given game, Lorenzo Brown can do that. This, however, on paper, is the worst Spanish team since I've started really watching basketball. The young players coming through from Spain have not been up to much the last few years. Your man what was your man's name? He didn't go into the draft this year in the Unite, Almansa. He could be decent. Aldama's young. You've got Hugo Gonzalez, who could be very good next year. He's so smooth. But this is an aging team. Juancho is one of their younger players, and he's older than me. You've got Usman Garuba. I didn't realize how young Garuba was. I forgot, he was the 2021 draft. So he was 19 when he got drafted. So, Garuba was somebody, when you look back in, 4 or 5 years ago, when he was getting burned at 18 for Real Madrid, I think there was more expectations on a lot of these players. Same even when Abrines came over first for OKC. I'm forgetting these guys are in their 30s now. Willie Hernan Gomez is 30. I remember him being a young player on the Knicks. But they just don't go away, though. The one thing about the Spanish national teams, they'll always know how to play together. They play quite similar. A lot of the time, they do play quite a similar system. You've got Sergio Llull, who's a straight-up shot maker. Rudy Fernandez is a vet. You've got Lorenzo Brown, who, again, when I watched at times in Eurobasket, they were quite heavily reliant on Lorenzo Brown and Santi Aldama. This team has a 7 or 8 man rotation where they got experience. They've got guys that got bucket getters. And we saw even in the World Cup where they really should have beat Canada the last time. In the Olympics 3 years ago, I know they had Ricky Rubio playing out of his damn mind, but they were up against America and they probably, had they held on, they could have held on. Not saying they should have beat them, but to say they had no chance of holding on is wrong as well. They were up quite a bit, and in fairness, Kevin Durant just did Kevin Durant things. So that is the interesting thing. My prediction for Spain is, the one thing is, when you think Spain are done, they always just come back. So if you look at their games, they're in the group of death. I think they beat Greece. I think they go and screw up Canada. This is my prediction. Loss, win-win. My prediction is, I've said it for Australia. I think they come second in the group, but also get I think Spain. I'm gonna predict win, loss, win. So obviously I'm predicting 3 teams then to go 2-1. But do I think they're going to? I think Spain. I have a weird feeling. My prediction is going to be Canada blitz one of the teams, one of those 3 teams. So let me just say they blitz Australia. Australia beats Spain. No, sorry, not win, loss, win. Loss, win, win. Australia beats Spain. Oh, they have the crowd advantage as well. I think Greece lose all 3. By the way, Greece losing all 3 is my prediction. I just don't think they have enough. So I'm going to predict them to lose all 3. I think Spain win the other 2. And I think Spain finish... I'm going to go best 3rd place for Spain. Which means they're probably going to come up against one of France/Germany or Spain or USA/Serbia. And I don't see them getting past the quarterfinals. That is my prediction. I think Spain get into the quarterfinals and lose to one of those 4 teams. They're obviously you could argue they're the 4 best teams in competition, but I think they'll go and make the quarters and lose to one of them. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. How is everybody doing? It is Mick here, and we are moving away from the WNBA. We're going to be doing previews of every single team in the men's and women's Olympics. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a hell of a lot of research on the women's teams that I don't know enough about. But we're going to be talking about the men's teams right now. And we're going to be talking about the world champions in this video. The world champion Germany team. Obviously, if you guys are interested in the Olympics, on the half hour, every half hour, we're going to be doing a preview right here. So, Germany, on paper, they should not be as good as they are. But they all know how to play with each other. And they've got no major flaws at the international level. And they've got 3 legit scorers. And that is what you need. For a long tournament, I would say you could argue maybe they might struggle. However, even with that, they just won the World Cup. So you can't bet against it for their for the squad size. So, obviously, their star players are going to be Dennis Schroeder and Franz Wagner. They are, as far as your 1-2 scoring punch, outside of KD and LeBron, they're the next best. Dennis Schroeder is going to be the best guard in this competition. And you might be saying, oh, but what about Stephen Curry? No. I would be shocked if Drew Holiday doesn't outperform Steph Curry in the Olympics. Just with the way the team is, the team's being ran around LeBron. Same with AD. Look, not everyone can be a superstar. Whereas Schroeder is absolutely elite. He's absolutely elite. I don't know if... I just need to make sure he's not hurt. I don't know why. No, he was the flag bearer. I don't know why I just thought that Schroeder was hurt. I don't know where I read that, but no, Schroeder is going to be absolutely elite. This guy right here could end up in the all-tournament team at the Olympics. Andreas Obst. He's playing for Bayern Munich, and imagine JJ Redick. Well, yeah, that's it. Just JJ Redick. He's JJ Redick. He is JJ Redick with maybe a faster release point. And we know how great JJ Redick was, and especially how great JJ Redick would be in a free-flowing, motion-based offense. And Germany did show their hand. Serbia didn't show their hand against America. Germany did. Germany wanted to win that game. So the way they're playing, it's just they reverse the ball a lot, which America really struggles with. The more times the ball is reversed, the more America struggles with it. When it comes to Franz Wagner, again, this could be your MVP of the entire tournament. Everything with Franz, everything he brings to the NBA, he can do here. Franz Wagner is 22 years old. He got a max contract. This guy is going to be one of the top 25 players in the NBA in the next year or two. He's ridiculous. He's a 6'10 wing who can handle the ball, slash, and should eventually be able to shoot the ball. Like we've seen it at times, he's streaky. If he just has a year or two where he gets consistent, he's one of the best guards in the damn league. His brother, Mo Wagner, maybe not the best player in the NBA, but he's like a solid bench player. If you look at like output and what he did, it's almost identical to Isaiah Hartenstein. Like that's basically his output just for a weaker team in the Orlando Magic, who are still a pretty good team. One of the best bench bigs, with Hartenstein potentially starting, he might be the best bench big in the entire NBA next year. Mo Wagner is very solid, and most definitely not Haas. We have also got Daniel Theis. Daniel Theis is, again, a very solid player in the NBA. That's all he is. He is a solid rotational piece center. When he puts on a Germany jersey, he might be the best center in basketball. He can shoot, he can pop, he can bang with anybody. He's big, he's strong, he's mobile, and he knows how to play the FIBA game. Doesn't matter that he's 6'8". And then also you're looking at like some shooters, and then there's Bonga. Bonga is like, other than Franz, is their one kind of athletic defender. I don't rate him very highly. I thought when he was 17, 18, you'll see it from my old BBALL Daily channel, I thought that he had a little bit more, because he was this like 6'8", 6'9", ball handling point forward at 17, and people thought he was going to come in as a point guard in the NBA. 2K legend. He became a 2K legend for that reason. But it just didn't pan out for him. But he's been solid for Germany. I do think, as far as just, he makes a lot of like low IQ drives to the basket, but at times he can be good. Not the best shooter. This is a team where you're looking at it and you're like, you've got some nice NBA players. You've got Franz. You've got some decent enough, like, you got decent enough players elsewhere. Like, their whole team can play. Like, if not, they wouldn't be in the damn German team. But this team, it's hard to bet against them. It's really hard to bet against them. Like, if you're looking at their group, they're in the weakest group. Like, you face Brazil and you face Japan. Brazil nearly lost to the Philippines, and Japan, as good as Japan are as far as like just Asian basketball is concerned, Japan are not. Like, if you look at the other groups, you got the group of death. Like, there's no Greece. There's no Greece as the worst team in this group. Brazil don't have Leandrinho, they don't have the players they once had. They nearly lost to the Philippines. Am I right in saying they lost to Cameroon? Like, Brazil might be the worst. Like, you can genuinely argue that the two worst teams in this entire competition, and not even Puerto Rico. Like, Puerto Rico freaking beat Lithuania. You could argue the two worst teams in the competition are in this group. Like, I would be shocked if France and Germany is not the two teams that go through, and this game on Friday is not basically there to see who goes through as winner in this group, which can be very important because you kind of want to dodge certain teams. And I would be shocked if Germany don't go win-win here. It just depends on what France shows up in the groups. So I'm going to guess, with the way France are playing now, Germany beat them, but you just don't know. And obviously Germany, like, France beat them in 3 games, but like no Schroeder in one of them, and one of them was very close. I'm going to go, I think France, styles make fights. I think Germany are going to really struggle to deal with France. So I'm going to say France beating Germany, even though Germany's guard play is so much better. If you could combine the guards and wings of Germany with the bigs of France, I think they would give USA a run for their money. But you can't. So my prediction is second in this group, and they're going to be 2-1 with a massive points difference. So they're going to probably be the top second place team. Maybe Serbia, now that I think about it. Oof. I'd say my prediction is going to be they're going to be in the second place team, which means who do they face then? They don't face... Oh, no, you don't face either the third place team, sorry. But they're going to be... France will be one of the top first place teams. They're going to be in that, like, second place. So you could end up facing a Canada. Or I think I have... In my predictions, I had Australia. So I think it's going to be a Germany, maybe Australia quarterfinal. And if you're asking me who's going to win that, I'm predicting Germany. I'm predicting Germany to win that. And then I don't know what way the groups are going to be. But let's just say, hypothetically, it is Germany, USA then in the semis. And I actually give Germany one of the best chances of beating USA. I think that it's a game that I would give a 75%, 25% chance to the USA, but I'm going to have to predict go out in that game. And more than likely then we see either like France or Serbia in the third or fourth place playoff. And I think bronze. If you're asking me what I think Germany do, I'm going to guess bronze. So anyway, that is it. That is my preview of the German national team for the Olympics. So here we are. We have got the Japanese national team. We've got the team that I know the least about. This is the team I know very, very little about in the Olympics. And I was very, very late with these preview videos, so I was not able to mainly do my research. And I'm going to be giving my predictions on how the Japanese team are going to do. So, this is a team. This is the best Japanese team there's been. Josh Hawkinson, I'm guessing, is naturalized. I would be absolutely shocked if that man is not naturalized. But again, to be naturalized by one of these countries, you got to be a hooper. You've got to be a hooper. And he's been playing for Japan for a decent amount of time. So he basically just played. He was an second team All Pac-12 and just played in Japan for his career. So he gives them a little bit of size. I didn't realize, I'm guessing that is Yuta Watanabe's brother. You've got guys, like a lot of these guys are going to be playing in the Japanese league. And the B League is a better league. The B League is a much better league than you would think. But I just think it's going to be a really, really tough task. Like, I think you're coming up against some really good teams. And again, Yuta Watanabe, I think, is back in Japan. You've got Rui Hachimura playing for the Lakers. So you've got hoopers. You've got some absolute hoopers here. And I think if you're just looking at this team and thinking, could they pull off an upset in a game and make it to the quarterfinals? So all you have to do is not be the last place third to get through the quarters. And if you're asking me who's going to win, do I think Germany are going to beat Japan? Yes. Yeah, I think Germany are going to beat Japan. I think France are going to beat Japan. And I think Brazil are going to beat Japan. But if you know anything just about Japanese sports in general, there are no country that overshoot. Like, there are no country that outplay the collective sum of their parts in every sport like Japan. It's not even funny. I'm Irish. I've watched a Japanese rugby team beat us. We were the number 1 ranked team in the world. We went into the World Cup with Japan as the second best team. And Japan beat us in the group. I've seen them beat South Africa in rugby. I've seen Japan have no rights to win games. And Japanese players just get this extra, these players play out of their minds for their country in every sport. And if you're somebody that follows international sports, Japan will always outperform the sum of their parts. And this is a team where, if you look at player for player, this team should not be any way close to competing. But if they go and beat one of Germany or France, it wouldn't surprise me that much. And I'm predicting Japan to beat Brazil. But I'm also predicting one of those to be a blowout. So you're basically looking at, I've predicted in Group A, every team to win one, lose one. Or say win 2, lose 1, and I predicted Greece to lose all their games. I predicted a 2-1, a 3-0 for France, and I've also predicting Japan to get 1 win against Brazil, because Brazil did not look good in qualifying. They needed a massive comeback to beat the Philippines, and look, the Philippines didn't even have Kai Soto. They didn't even have Kai Soto, and they needed that comeback, and they lost to Cameroon. So I don't think Brazil, this is not Brazil of 2016. This is not a good Brazil team, in comparison to what they used to be. But when it comes to Japan, I would love to see them make it through. I don't think they do. So my prediction again is out in the groups as the third place team. But if you're also looking at the other groups, there is that Group C, which Puerto Rico and South Sudan are going to play off against each other. And I think South Sudan are going to be more up for the game against America than they are for the game against Puerto Rico, which is probably going to decide their fate. So I have a feeling Puerto Rico in that country. Like, Puerto Rico are good. Like, Chris Duarte is good. Jose Alvarado is unbelievable at the international level. So I think they're going to be really good. They're going to be decent. And I think they're going to, points difference-wise, I think they're going to be 1 win, 2 losses as well. But I do think when it comes to that it's going to be a struggle, or I think they're going to finish below them on points difference. But if they do end up going through to the quarterfinal, that will be just, even if you are in as one of the 2 third places, which means you face either probably America or France or Canada, they're going to get destroyed. But it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But we've seen it in football. Japan just outplay. In every sport. In football, they do it. Rugby, obviously, they do it. Basketball, we've seen them at times outperform the sum of their parts too. This is a team that should not... There are 5 teams not in the Olympics that are better on paper than Japan. But I would find it hard to bet against Japan versus any team not in the Olympics other than Lithuania. I'd bet... If you're asking me who's winning, Japan or Slovenia, Japan. Japan or Croatia? Actually, no, that's a tough one. But that is it. That is a very, very interesting one. But yeah, that is my prediction, unfortunately, for Japan. So hopefully they do well. Because look, I'm not even going to pretend to know about most of these players. Like, this is a almost entirely B-League based team. And it's like, look, as good as the B-League is getting and how much is it's improving, it's not the NBL. It's not Euro. It's not any of the main Euro leagues. Maybe better than LKL, but like, it's not the Turkish league. It's not ACB. It's not Pro A. It's not Bundesliga. It's not, obviously, is there any other? Maybe better than the Italian First League. But like, still, if Japan win a game, if they win a game and make it out of the group, this will be one of the biggest stories in the Olympics. And if there's going to be a giant killer, look, if they play America, they're not winning. Straight up, they're just not winning. They're losing by 40. If there's going to be a giant killer, as in beating a Germany, beating a France in the quarterfinals, in like a how the hell did they win this type quarterfinal? If there's going to be a giant killer, like major story, it's going to be these. Like, I don't see, maybe Puerto Rico could do it. I don't see South Sudan doing there, and I don't see Brazil doing much. But I've learned enough from sports. I've watched enough World Cups, seeing them beat a German team who were freaking defending World Cup champions. I've seen them beating so many good teams in World Cups. We've been on the receiving end of the Japanese national team who just outperform what they should. And look, it is what it is. You can never, ever, ever, ever bet against Japan unless obviously they're playing the United States, where you can completely write them off. Genuinely outside of America, you can't bet against this team, even though realistically they shouldn't. So anyway, yeah, that is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. So with our Olympics preview, we are going over team number 5 right now, and that is the French national team. The France team is one where, look, I'm going to be honest. This is the team that on paper should be the best team in this, that not named USA. If you're asking me who the best team in this competition are, who are a team with the best chance of beating America, it's between one of Germany and one of France. Obviously, the two of them in the same group, and I would take both of them over Serbia. But this is an interesting team because their forward depth is crazy. They have as bad guard depth as we've seen in this competition. Like, outside of like a Japan, they probably got some of the weaker guards in this competition. But their forwards and bigs and defense and athleticism are all going to be able to compete there or thereabouts with Team USA. So this is a team where you're looking from the guard position, like the lead guard position, you're going to be reliant on Matthew Strazel quite a bit. Like, again, a good EuroLeague player. Probably didn't live up to the hype that he was expected to be when he was younger. But again, a really solid EuroLeague player. But then other than that, like, Frank's good on defense, gives you nothing on offense. Like, Frank gives you absolutely nothing on offense. Even at this level, he doesn't really give you much at that end of the floor. As far as, like, Fournier and DeColo have got to be your offense. Nando DeColo is what? He's 37. Like, you're still reliant on a 37-year-old Nando DeColo. Evan Fournier, he's only 32. He's only 31. Wow. I thought he was older than that. You're still going to be quite reliant on him. You're going to be still reliant defensively on a Yabusele, who can still play. Lazort is a big... He's a big... He is well and truly like a big, big guy. He's going to be strong. He's going to be a nice inside presence. But where this team is going to win and lose games is in their twin tower setup. Like, if we want to talk about a near unguardable high-low, it's these two. BBALL Daily is a great young player. I don't know how effective he's going to be in this. But these two guys right here, they're going to be the guys to carry. Like, they're going to be heavily, heavily reliant on a Victor Wembanyama, Rudy Gobert combination. This team is going to be super reliant on those two. Like, if these two are not playing at their best, they might struggle, even in the groups. Like, this team's on a 5-game losing streak. And their group, thankfully, they're in what is probably the easiest group. Your two weakest teams are arguably the two worst teams in the competition. So, if you want to look at their games, they're facing Brazil. If they lose to Brazil tomorrow, like, I think I might just give up hope in Team USA losing. Brazil aren't good. Again, I watched Brazil pull off a miracle win over the Philippines. That's a bit harsh. I watched Brazil have a big comeback win over the Philippines. Philippines didn't even have Kai Soto. I watched Japan, Japan are decent. France should destroy them. And then I think this should be a case of a 3-0 game to decide the group there at the end. But the one reason you give France all the hype in the world is 7'5" Victor Wembanyama. The biggest lie in all of the heights is that he's 7'3". He's about 4 inches bigger than Rudy Gobert. I'm not joking. He's about 4 inches bigger. This guy is the future of basketball. He is... Like, we've seen him stand beside Zach Edey. He is a good 1.5 inches taller than Zach Edey. Like, he's quite a bit taller. So, he's the future. He is the absolute future of the sport of basketball. And I'm telling you, he is... If France go where Wemby goes, like, they got the big two, and his high-low with Rudy Gobert is going to be devastating. But the fact is that, unlike in a lot of the warm-up games, Victor and Gobert are going to be playing 32 minutes a game in big games. They might rest. The best thing for France is to be able to get 2 big wins in your first 2 games and then be able to rest. Or say not even be able to rest, sorry. Get 2 big enough wins in the first 2 games, you're able to rest your players and then go and beat Germany. Because if you beat Germany and you go 3-0, you're more than likely facing a third place team. And unless you happen to get whoever's third place in Group A, you should have a pretty easy route to the semi-final. And France, as long as France dodge USA, I don't know if there's a team that's going to beat them in a one-off. And you also have to take into account that this team has the home court advantage, which matters. It really does. When you're in Europe, the home court advantage really, really matters, especially for your national team. Frank Ntilikina is going to be good on defense, so is Nick Batum. But the one thing about this team is that they're going to be able to match up even to USA. You've got the 2 best defenders in the entire tournament as far as interior defense goes. You've got a very nice defender in BBALL Daily. You've got a very nice defender in Frank. Who did Frank play for this year? Partizan Belgrade. You got a very nice defender still, and versatile defender in Nick Batum. Yabusele is a decent defender, and he's a monster. And then even their guys off the bench going to be playing defense. That's the one thing, is that like a lot of the time, the international teams are just going to have to hope to outscore Team USA, because maybe their defense isn't going to be elite. I thought Germany's was very good, the swarming defense on USA. But with the way Team USA play, which is a really heavy ISO game, they are the only team that has 3 to 4 good point of attack defenders. They have 3 to 4 guys that are going to be able to stop people running straight to the basket. So if Team USA are to lose, I think it's going to be to France, even though I can see France losing before that. But look, we've seen the French team be successful in the past. The fact that like Hurtel, I think he's not being picked as far as I'm aware because he played in Israel. You've also got no Killian Hayes, which is a bit of a surprise. In fairness, that man can't shoot a lick either. And this team, I don't know. I'm going to make my prediction now. I'm lower on France than people think. My prediction is I think they're going to go through. I think they're going to go through the group. I think they're going to go and get very lucky in their quarterfinal. And I think they're going to end up facing Puerto Rico. I think they're going to get through. I think they're going to face Puerto Rico. I think they're going to beat Puerto Rico. But I then think you're going to face probably USA in the semis. I say not USA in the semis. I think they're going to face then, after beating Puerto Rico, I get Canada in the semis, then Canada beat them by 30. I think they're going to lose a disappointing game. And I don't think they're going to even get to America. I don't see them winning bronze. I see it maybe being either Serbia or Germany in that semifinal. And I don't see them win a bronze either. My prediction is France to not get a medal, which is a bit of a crazy one, but that is my prediction. So we're now doing a preview of Brazil. Brazil are a team that have historically been good. Like, I think Brazil historically have been very, very solid. But for me, this is what I would think is probably one of the 3 or 4 worst teams in the Olympics right now. I think between them, Japan, and South Sudan, they are my 3 poorest teams in the Olympics. But at the same time, look, you just never know. You really just never know when it comes to a team who can shock the world. But look, there's no Barbosa. There's no Varejao. There's no Nene. Thiago Splitter is not a player. He's a coach now. So you always had the bigs to really compete. And Felicio, former NBA player, not in the league anymore. Raul Neto, as far as guards are concerned, free agent, doesn't even have a team. Is he 32 now? I'm getting old. And then you got Huertas, who is... Huertas is... The man's 41. He's their best player. He's 41. He's 41. I literally watched all their pre-games. It's between him and Bruno Caboclo. Next thing you're going to be telling me Bruno Caboclo's 30. Okay, not quite. Not quite. He's 28. He's about to turn 29. He's close. He's close to being 30. I'm getting real old. But Bruno Caboclo in qualifying is really good. And the big thing about Caboclo is he's an NBA level player right now. It took him way too long to develop. He was a superstar in the G League for a while. He's good. Don't get it twisted. Bruno Caboclo is good. They call him the Brazilian KD. When he plays for Brazil, he does look like the Brazilian KD. I'm not going to lie. In general, no. But when he plays for Brazil, some of these guys get superpowers and they play for their countries, and Bruno Caboclo is one of them. So, again, you're looking at guys playing all over the world and a lot of former NBA players not in their prime. Who's their youngest player? This guy's 24. If you told me this guy was 40, it wouldn't surprise me. This guy's 29. Again, if you told me he's 40, it wouldn't surprise me. But we're looking at an actual young team. They look old, but they're young. Felicia's young enough, isn't he? No, he's 32. I'm so old. I am so old. But Brazil came through, what I will say is, the easiest group. They came through what is by far, the easiest qualifying group. They needed to beat Cameroon and they needed to beat the Philippines. I can't remember who did they face. Was it Latvia in the final? And Latvia are fine. Don't get it twisted. Latvia are completely fine. But again, Like, they lost to Cameroon. So this is not a good basketball. This is not a good team compared to their contemporaries. The only thing is that top 2 third places go through in the groups, and Japan is a winnable game. That is the one like saving grace for Brazil, is that Japan is a winnable game. For my prediction for this team, look, I'm sorry to all my Brazilian fans out there. My prediction is grouped. I don't see how. Like, I do not see how this team makes it out of the group. Even when 3 out of 4 make it out of the group. Japan are just... Look, as I've said in my Japan preview, I've seen Japanese national teams in sports. I've seen how much Japan, like, overperform. And I just don't like to bet against Japan unless there's so much of a talent gap I have to. But when it comes to Brazil and Japan, I think they're... Look, I think Brazil are pretty good. Don't get it twisted. I think Brazil are a pretty good team. I think they, as far as South American teams go, look, they made it instead of Argentina. Like, who was it that beat? Was it Puerto Rico, I think? Or was the Bahamas beat Argentina? Somebody that didn't make the Olympics knocked out Argentina. But you got in. You got in off the back of a pretty easy qualifying tournament. Like, if you were in a qualifying tournament with Lithuania, if you were in a qualifying tournament with... I'm trying to think, with the Bahamas. I'm trying to think who else. Croatia. I think the second place in the other 3 groups qualifies instead of Brazil. So I think Brazil just making this Olympics with this squad is an achievement in itself. I think they're going to really struggle. Like, I don't see them being even close. They're playing France tomorrow. They're playing France. I don't see it being close at all. I see it being a statement game for France. It's France's first game at home. France's first game at home. You're not beating France's first game at home. And then you're facing the world champions. And they must win games. If they win that, they're guaranteed top 2 in the group. Well, assuming they beat Japan. But if we know anything from football, Japanese team can beat a heavily favored German team. We've seen it in a sport where Germany have been more dominant at. And Japan probably equally as much of a gap in the 2 teams. I just can't see them winning a game. Maybe they could play Japan in the battle for 3rd place. That could be something. But I think there's a chance that they lose the first 2 games so badly that they're out by the 3rd game. I don't think it's that crazy because of what Group C is. I think potentially Puerto Rico and South Sudan could be blitzed. Maybe not so much Puerto Rico because I do think they're not bad. But I think South Sudan could be absolutely blitzed when it comes to the that group. So I think you gotta be very lucky. If you're a Brazil fan, you're gonna have to hope for a miracle. Like, your best offensive player is 41 years old. Like, Marcelo Huertas is your best offensive player. Man's 41. Your second best offensive player is a guy flamed out of the NBA. And, like, you struggled with the Philippines. This Brazilian team really struggled with the Philippines. So there is no way. There is absolutely no way if you struggled with a Philippines team without Kai Soto, lost to Cameroon, and like got through against a bad Latvia team, that it's going to be competing with the teams that are in it. Look, they're not in the group of death, thankfully. But with the structure of the competition where 8 of 12 teams go through, I think the best Brazil can hope for is going through as a 3rd place. Look, with the way it is, you've got Japan. That's a winnable game. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but I think they're done. My prediction is out. That is my prediction, is last place in the group. And surprisingly enough, I've done 6 of these. It's the first team I've predicted to finish in last place in their group. So anyway, that is the video. Obviously, it's going to be in part of a longer video. This is the section of the video. If you're watching the full one, please like, comment, and subscribe. So Greece are a tough team to talk about. They are a really tough team to talk about when it comes to the Olympics because they have arguably the best player in the entire competition. But a team where I just don't know how good they are. I don't know how good this team is. So They're in a group of death. I think if you put them in either of the other two groups, they make it through. I think Greece are a team that, without question, make it through. Like, if they are in group B or C, they make it through. Group A is the absolute group of death, and Greece could go 3-0. I don't think this Greece team is as good as even like the mid-2000s teams. I think if you rewind back the clock to 2006 or 2004 and you put Giannis onto those teams, they win both the 2004 Olympics and the 2006 World Cup, where I think they lost to Argentina in the final. And am I right in saying they lost both finals? But I think they win both of them if you put a Giannis player on that team. But like, that was a really good cohesive unit where you've got some of the best. Whereas this team is extremely Giannis centric. Like, I watched them beat Slovenia. I watched them be in a not terribly difficult qualifying tournament. Slovenia looked awful, man. Luka couldn't move. But Spanoulis, one of the best European players ever. One of the best European players to ever play the sport of basketball. Heck, man was like Luka Doncic's hero. So I would assume he's going to be a good coach. And if you're looking at a team like this, like, you've got Papa Nicolau, former NBA player. He's way younger than I thought he was. He's only 34. I thought that he was a lot older than that. But he's going to give you something at 6'8" as a nice wing. Nick Kalathis, again, former NBA player. He's 35 years old now. Like, this team's old. The team's old. He's playing for Monaco right now. Is Nick Kalathis, obviously he is Greek. Why did I think he was Canadian? Am I Greek American? So he obviously, I'm guessing he played for Greece when he was younger, because he must have got that passport at a young age, because he obviously is a EuroLeague legend. But like, they already have another naturalized player, it seems. So again, like, the last medal that they've won in anything was a bronze medal at Eurobasket like 15 years ago. You got Georgios Papagiannis, a former lottery pick for Sacramento. Why? I don't know. It was during the buggy year where they just kept drafting centers. Papagiannis, did he ever play a game in the NBA? Because I don't remember. Because I would remember, because he would have been a god in 2K because he's 7'2". So I don't even remember if he ever played a game. I don't know. He was 2 years for the Kings and then went and signed with the Blazers. He played 39 NBA games. He was a lottery pick who played 39 NBA games. That is nuts. But he's solid. He's a big. He knows how to play international ball. He's going to be very, very solid. And Thomas Walkup, lights out shooter. Really good defender as a guard and a lights out shooter. So Thomas Walkup is going to be a key player. He's got to, for me, it's got to be like one of the creativity of a Nick Kalathis or Thomas Walkup is really got to be your 1A to Giannis. Your 1B to Giannis' 1A. Like, this is international ball. It's easier to stop Giannis in international than it is to stop Giannis in NBA. Giannis is nearly unstoppable in the NBA. Whereas international, it's very easy to wall up because you can just sit in the paint. And you are in a group with Spain, where you have Willy Hernan Gomez. You've got a Garuba even playing some help defense. And you have got, who else is in that group? Spain, there's Australia. Australia aren't as big as they used to be. You're quite lucky that it's not the Bogut, Aaron Baines era of Australia. Because if it was that era of Australia, it would be super, super tough to do anything as them. Especially with the way this Greek team is like constructed. But you've also then got Canada, who, in fairness, Canada aren't big. They didn't bring Zach Edey, so maybe Greece could shock everybody. But they go where Giannis goes. They go where Giannis goes. If everyone starts shooting and Giannis is just dominating on the inside, going to the basket, and they're going to be good defensively because they've got size and length and good guard defenders. You never know. Like, my prediction is last. I'm predicting lose, lose, lose. That's my prediction for this team right here. I don't think that's a crazy prediction either. Like, Greece, if you want to look at the other teams in their group, you've got the Canadians, who have the second best roster in the entire Olympics. Second best roster. You have got Spain, who, while their roster is as barely better, if better at all, than Greece, Spain won Eurobasket 2 years ago. Then you've Australia, who all in all have a better roster. You've also had more success at the world stage. So I'm looking at these three, and this is the group of death. There is a legitimate possibility that Greece win all three and go through the group. That's not a crazy statement to make. It is completely possible that Greece win all three of these games and go through as group winners. This is the hardest group to predict. Like, I've already said it with these teams. My prediction for the group standings are 3 teams going 2-1 and Greece going 0-3. I'm going Canada. I'm going based on points difference, going Canada, Australia, Spain, Greece. That's what I have. But it really does come down to the shooting. Like, you've got shooters here. You've got shooters. And is this the Serpent guy? I think he's the Serpent guy. Or the Cobra guy. If I'm not mistaken. Or do they have the Cobra? Is it Greece that have the Cobra guy? But they have shooters everywhere. They genuinely have shooters all around the he's the Cobra guy. Shooters all around the floor. Look, their whole team. Panathinaikos just won EuroLeague. You got Panathinaikos players everywhere. It's a team that didn't take Costa onto the combo. You've got shooters everywhere. You've got guys playing at elite level, and they're Greece. They're going to be grilled. They're going to be drilled correctly. The problem is that the way teams like to play in Europe doesn't really fit Giannis' strengths, and I think they're going to play more towards Giannis' strengths because that's their best chance of winning. So it's just, Greece have not been successful really at the international stage, like massively successful in quite a long time. So I just don't see a situation where they come out of this group. Who knows, though? I could be very, very wrong with this. So the second best team on paper in the entire Olympics is the Canadian national team. This team right here, you've got Lou Dort, very good NBA role player. You got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, very good NBA role player. If I say WNBA, I'm sorry. It's 1 a.m. and I'm done. This is like the 8th of these videos I've recorded back to back to back. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, arguably the best player in the entire competition. You can maybe argue best player in the world. I don't think great argument, but I think there is an argument there. Jamal Murray, flat out scorer winner. Dwight Powell, not as bad as people think. Trey Lyles, going to be solid internationally. Just a little bit undersized center. RJ Barrett can give you 40 in any given game. Kelly Olynyk is a solid enough international center forward, but problem is, again, he's not going to be a game changer. He's probably going to start for them. Not going to be a game changer. Andrew Nembhard, I wish. Man, there's just so many good guards on this team. Dylan Brooks had 40 in the bronze medal game in the World Cup, so he's going to be good. And then you've got Ken Birch, who's not a great center. Look, I don't know why you don't bring Zach Edey. I really don't. It makes absolutely no sense the way FIBA is, and especially in the group that you're in. Like, in the group you are in, you knew the group you were in, and you knew in the Olympic qualifying tournament that it was either going to be Slovenia or, to be fair, Croatia did pretty well, or Giannis in Greece. So why not have Zach Edey and plant him under the basket? Because he's going to be guarding Georgia's Papagiannis. He would have been perfect in that game. You could have planted him under the basket. You could have walled up Giannis and guaranteed the win against Greece. Now you're going small trying to face Giannis and Papagiannis. Like, that is not going to be an easy first game for Canada. I just think their guard strength is super high. Like, you have got probably the best guard in the tournament in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, including the States. You have got the 2 best perimeter defenders in the entire tournament, Maybe Drew Holiday. You've got two of the three best in Lou Dort and Dylan Brooks. The one problem is, again, the way Lou Dort plays, his physical style of defense is going to be called as fouls in FIBA. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he's a really good basketball player. He's a really good bench option. The problem is like, look, your starting point guard is probably going to be Jamal Murray or Shea, whichever one. They're two combo guards. And then your next two best players, and your two best players at the bench, Andrew Nembhard and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, play the same positions as them. You're going to have to probably start Dwight Powell. RJ Barrett, again, is just a score. I don't think the pieces fit. I think the talent is there. I think if you're asking me who are the second best team talent-wise, it's Canada. It's Canada without question. I just don't know how the talent fits. Like, I think they're USA light, as in they have all the same flaws as America, but they don't have the talent, as much talent to make up for it. But at the same time, when you have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jamal Murray, RJ Barrett, Andrew Nembhard, and Dylan Brooks on the one team with passable bigs, if two of them get nuclear hot, you're beating anyway. You're beating whoever you play. And that's the problem. That's the thing with this team, is that if the guys get nuclear hot, they can beat anyone. You just need two. You just need two guys. You have got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys that I think are capable of dropping 30 in any given playoff game. Capable of dropping 30 in an NBA playoff game. And we've seen it in the NBA. We've seen, heck, the 2019 Raptors who won the damn championship lost game 1 to DJ Augustine. These guys are better players than DJ Augustine. And you might be saying, oh, but like a Team USA might not be up for it. It doesn't matter about being up for it. It doesn't matter about being hyped. It comes down to makes or misses now, especially with 3-point variance in basketball right now. If you're asking me who has the best chance of beating Team USA, I think it's France or Canada. France, because they just have the two bigs, and you just never know what's going to happen. Like if USA are missing shots and they're getting higher percentage of looks, and we see like Embiid getting in early foul trouble, especially like if Embiid gets in early foul trouble and you're putting AD in and AD might get into a bit of foul trouble, you've just got nothing else on the bench. Bam, who's playing like stretch 4 for them. But I like all the players on Canada. I just don't see necessarily the fit. They haven't played with each other enough. And by the way, this is a young team. Like Dylan Brooks, for international ball, Dylan Brooks is 8 months older than me. He's 27. Dylan Brooks is 27. Andrew Nembhard's 24. Kelly Olynyk is 33. Kelly Olynyk's going to be fine the next Olympics, by the way. He's going to be fine for that. RJ Barrett's young, 24. Trey Lyles isn't that old. Like, he's a year older than me? It's not that old. It's 28. Jamal Murray is younger than me, 26. Or is he 27? He's 27. Dwight Powell, again, early 30s. He'll still be fine next Olympics. And you look at, again, they're missing Andrew Wiggins. And you look at all the players coming through, how many good Canadians there are. And you're looking, and I don't think this is the Olympics for Canada. I think next Olympics, we're going to be talking about Canada as gold medal candidates. I think if the Canadians medal, that should be their goal. It's the first time in the Olympics in at least in a while. They lost to the Czech Republic last time. They lost to Greece without Giannis in the FIBA qualifying tournament, and then they ended up getting all the way to the final, where they lost to Thomas Satoransky. I mean that. Thomas Satoransky is the reason why these did not qualify for the last Olympics. Thomas Satoransky. So, look, if you're a Canadian fan, as talented as your team is, look, they don't have the chemistry of some of these other teams. They haven't played together as long. They have all the flaws of America, but may not have the talent to pull it off. But they are the only team that on any given day could out-talent America. So, I'm not saying it's crazy. I think win versus Greece in a nail-biter. I think I have win versus Australia in a comfortable win. Loss versus Spain. A little bit of complacency comes in. You think you've won the group, and I think Spain beat you in a close one. And because I think they beat Australia comfortably and the Greece game gets wiped, I think they end up getting it. But I do think not bringing Zach Edey is huge, especially depending on who you're playing. So I think Zach Edey would have been massive against the Rudy Gobert. I think Zach Edey be very important against a Georgios Papagiannis. I think like it's not going to happen, but on the off chance you are facing like a South Sudan, I think just the physical size of Zach Edey would help. There are certain games, even just to trouble Jokic. Jokic's going to cook him, but he's going to cook your guys anyway. He might trouble Jokic with his length. I think it's a big, unless he specifically said he didn't want to go, I think it's a huge mistake not bringing Zach Edey to these Olympics. Even if you're only going to use him in situational games, situations in like, as a situational player, give him 10 minutes a game. He's young. I think he'll be fine with that. I think he could have been a big asset to this team. Either way, though, my prediction is Canada to win the group. Then, after winning the group at 2-1, they're probably going to be facing a second place team. So you're then facing either Germany or Serbia. And my prediction is, if you're facing Germany or Serbia, nope. That's my prediction. Losing in the quarterfinals to one of Germany or Serbia. Or on the off chance Serbia beat the United States in the group. Or France. If Germany win, but I will also have this caveat. If Germany top the group and you're facing France in the quarterfinals, Canada are going to be France. So I think Serbia beat Germany. Serbia beat Canada. I think Germany beat Canada. But if it ends up being Canada-France in the quarters, I think Canada are going to win. And then it's probably going to be Canada-USA then in the semifinal. And the Canada-USA semifinal would feed families. But anyway, that's the video. Thank you, guys. Well, I know. That is this video. There's like 4 more teams to preview for the big one. So, group number 3, Group C, is probably the biggest like gap in teams when you've got South Sudan, who are 33rd in the world. Like, I'm pretty sure like a year ago, South Sudan were barely ranked above Ireland. So like that is incredibly impressive from them. But this is a really tough group. And it's going to be obviously starting off with South Sudan for their preview. Look, I think South Sudan have been supremely overrated by that last performance against Team USA. But they're also not a bad team. Look, of all the African teams, I would say you've got a really good assist coaching duo of Royal Ivy and Luol Deng. Like, Royal Ivy's not that old, is he? I'm surprised Royal Ivy's not playing. Unless he's ineligible. So there's no profile. He's not that old, is he? I don't think he's that old. I remember using him in 2K. I need to check what age Royal Ivy is. Like, it says he's American, so... No, he's 42. Wow. Wow, I did not realize he was that old. But maybe it was the early days of 2K. But this is a team where you're looking... You've got quite a lot of NBA talent. And not only that, you've got length. You've got a lot of length. Even where it's not fully NBA talent, you've got a lot of length. JT Thor is a player that's like so good in this type of ball. He can match up athletically to any American player. And I actually think, if you're asking me about this South Sudan team, I think they're going to compete better against America than they are against Serbia. I think they lose to America by 25. I think they lose to Serbia by 40. And I don't know what happens in the Puerto Rico game. But like, you've got Shayok, who is, again, we saw what he did for them in that friendly game. You've got Moloch, the guy who's going to Duke. This guy, what, man's 17. He's 17 years old. Like, this guy is going to be a hooper. He's already a freak athlete. He's going to play 15 minutes a game, which is massive. And like, as far as young players at this Olympics, I kind of wish USA brought Cooper Flagg, but I think he's going to be, on the men's side, it's going to be him because there's no VJ Edgecombe either. On the women's side, it's going to be Dominique Malonga. But I think he's going to be a guy who's not going to be a top 3 or 4 pick just because of how his game is. He's somebody that if you are if he plays well in this Olympics, it doesn't really matter how he gets on in Duke. He's going to be a top 10 pick. Is to put him in the window. And then you have got Carlick Jones, who is Again, a former G League MVP. I just need to check, is he a natural? I assume he's a naturalized player. Like, I'm guessing he's naturalized. Obviously, American South Sudan, there's quite a few players, I'd say, that are American South Sudan. Quite a few players that grew up in Australia. And the fact is, like, national team career. No. He's actually of South Sudanese descent, so he's not naturalized. He's actually a local, it seems. So, fair enough. I'm wrong there. But this is a team that is like, if you have Bol on that team, as I assume, yeah, he's definitely eligible. And I don't care what age Luol Deng is. If I'm Luol Deng, kid up. Just go out and play. Go out and hoop. Actually, what am I saying? Go out and hoop. He already competed for Great Britain. What am I talking about? He's already competed for Great Britain in the Olympics, so he's obviously not going to be able to play for South Sudan. Maybe FIBA will do it, but no, he's not going to do it. Their first game is against Puerto Rico, and that is the most important game because it's the only one they have a chance of winning. It is tomorrow, Sunday. Like, I'm losing track of days. It is Sunday at 10 a.m. My prediction in that game, I'm going Puerto Rico. I just think South Sudan, they're not awful. Do they just have too much athleticism? I'd love to see South Sudan win, by the way. I really want to see South Sudan win because, look, if you guys don't know, African basketball is the future. Look, there's going to be great players in Europe. African basketball is the future, and I would love to see South Sudan even get to the quarterfinals. And if one of South Sudan or Puerto Rico have a huge win against the other, you're going to see them probably get through as one of the top 2 third places. Like, it's, again, 8 of 12 teams. Only 4 teams don't go out. And if you win a game, there's a 2 in 3 chance you're going through. So, I'm going to predict South Sudan to win. I'm going to predict but Lithuania are better than South Sudan. And Puerto Rico beat Lithuania. I think they've got enough length to throw on Grand Theft Alvarado. I'm going to go South Sudan to win that first game. South Sudan, America, I think it's probably going to be one of those games where America blow out a 25-point lead in the first quarter or in the first quarter and a half and take their foot off the gas. I think it's going to be big minute Derek White game. You're going to see their bench play a lot. They're going to go 5 on, 5 off. I don't think it's going to be even close. And I think Serbia beat them by 40. I think they're going to really, really struggle against Serbia. I think Serbia have a fantastic team. I just think they're going to reverse the ball enough times. There's no way Serbia are as bad as they looked against Team USA. There is no way Serbia are going to just have Jokic going 1-on-1 and Micic going, playing like a 2K my player, going hiding around screens, chucking. So I think they're going to get destroyed by Serbia. I think they go out in the groups. I said it in Group B. I think they're going to get blitzed in one of those last 2 games. And I think they're going to be the last third place, which is disappointing, which will be disappointing. I would love to see. Of all teams I want to see out of the group, it's them. But I think one of them or Japan are probably going to end up missing out on the quarterfinals. And I think the Japanese are going to be closer. I think the Japanese aren't really going to have any games where they get absolutely blitzed. Whereas I think South Sudan get blitzed once at least, maybe twice. So, yeah, that is just my opinion. Look, this team has got length to compete with anybody. Again, you've got JT Thor, who in international game plays great. You got Wenyan Gabriel, great EuroLeague player. You've got a guy that's going to be an NBA player. I wish we saw Bol, but you've got Carlick Jones. You got Carlick Jones, Wenyan Gabriel, JT Thor, Sheok, and you just got athletes everywhere. You've got athletes everywhere on the team, and you got players playing in NBL. You got players, I think that's G League, Adelaide 36ers, NBL. So a lot of players playing in Australia, which I'm not as high in the Australian League as most people are. but it's still one of the 5 best leagues in the world. So yeah, I really hope they do better than I expect, but I just don't see it happening. So Puerto Rico, one of the teams in Group C. Will they go and do what they did in 2004, 20 years ago, and beat Team USA? Highly unlikely, but they got a chance to do it in the groups. They've got the chance. This is a nice team. This is a genuine nice team. You've got, again, Devon Reed with a G League team. I'm pretty sure he's been in and out of the league. You've got, what's his name? Like, Tremont Waters. I'm pretty sure he's been in and out of the league. Is Duarte not playing? Is Chris Duarte injured? Okay, now obviously, I don't really mind my prediction because I don't have them predicted. What happened to Chris Duarte? I thought, why am I, oh my God, I'm actually dumb. I'm so dumb. I'm sorry. It is literally 3 a.m. right now. I'm so sorry. So dumb. He's Dominican Republic. I'm so dumb. I'm so sorry. It's 3 a.m. But no, this team goes where this man goes right here. This is the Alvarado team. The man was hooping. He was hooping in the Olympic qualifying tournaments. Like, I can't remember the last time I've seen anything like it. Like, we're on FIBA.com, obviously, but what he did in the Olympic qualifying tournaments was nothing short of spectacular. They beat Lithuania, I'm pretty sure. They beat Lithuania. Which is so impressive. It is so impressive. And yeah, they were just a brilliant team. They were genuinely just a brilliant team. And they came through what was a tough group as well. So I can't knock them. But Alvarado was unreal. He was absolutely unreal. I just, like, the 16th ranked team in the world, you've got NBA talent. You got guys that play with each other. You got guys that are obviously very much like happy to play for their country. It was in Puerto Rico, though. It was in Puerto Rico. So you do have the advantage playing at home, and you're then playing in, like, you beat Italy, you beat Lithuania. You're now playing in France, where you don't have the home advantage, and some of the miraculous plays Alvarado made, maybe you don't make it home. But you've got a lot of talent here. You've got guys playing a pretty decent level of basketball. You've got a decent enough team. Again, I don't know much about Puerto Rico. Your 2 best players are guards. But you are facing off against South Sudan first game. This game probably decides it all. The South Sudan game. If you're asking me about these teams, whoever wins this game is finishing 3rd in the group. I think Puerto Rico are going to give better games to Serbia and give better games to USA than South Sudan are. But I already called it. I called it in my video right a bit earlier. I think South Sudan are winning. I think South Sudan are winning that game. But I also think South Sudan get blitzed. I think this is the group where 3rd place doesn't make it through. I think this is going to be that group. I think Puerto Rico lose to Serbia by, give me plus 15 for Serbia. Give me 25 for Team USA. Look, weirder things have happened. They beat Team USA with Carlos Arroyo in 2004. And who knows, maybe Alvarado is going to be 2020's Carlos Arroyo in the Olympics. So, they're not beating America. What am I trying to, it's 3 a.m. I'm dumb enough to forget that Chris Duarte is from the Dominican Republic and not Puerto Rico. But I'm not dumb enough to think that Puerto Rico have any chance against Team USA. So, yeah, that's kind of my prediction there. It's like, I do think, though, if they can win that first game against South Sudan, especially if they can win it by double digits, then it becomes a case of damage control. You slow down that game. If you want to get into that group in third place, like you want to get scraped through the groups and then face probably a France or a Germany, and that's probably going to be your best chance. That's almost certainly going to be with the way the draw is. If you want a medal, if you're Puerto Rico, you got to scrape through this group, face either France or Germany, because you're not finishing top 2 in this group. Like I'm not putting any forfeits out there, but because I can't think of any because it's 3 a.m. There is no way. There's absolutely no way that Puerto Rico are beating Serbia. And there's absolutely no way that Puerto Rico are beating USA. And if Puerto Rico get a medal in this Olympics, build a statue for Grand Theft Alvarado. Build a statue for this man. Because they're not in the group of death, but they're in the group of, we don't stand a chance of getting out of this. Like, if they were in, they're better than Brazil. They're not the worst team in the Olympics. I think maybe I'm overrating South Sudan based on one game. But I just think South Sudan's size is too much. They're huge. They're absolutely huge. And it's hard to deal with. It's going to be hard for anyone to deal with. Like, it's going to be hard at times for Serbia to deal with that length. But I do think Serbia can blitz them. It's going to be hard for America to deal with the length of South Sudan. I just don't feel like Puerto Rico, even if they are the better team, I'm not sure they can compete with the athleticism of that South Sudan team, who are the most athletic team in this tournament, over France and over Team USA. Like, for Team USA, their second best athlete is LeBron James. He's 40 after Anthony Edwards. Like, I think as far as athleticism goes, you can argue France are a more athletic team than Team USA. But then obviously South Sudan are just freaky athletic. So Puerto Rico, I think they obviously wouldn't win a game in the group of death. But if you replace them with, say, Japan, I would be predicting them to go through to the quarterfinals. Albeit to face Team USA and get blitzed. But yeah, that would be my prediction. But I would say I'm still going South Sudan over them. So I don't have Puerto Rico going through the group, unfortunately. Even though obviously world ranking spot, they're 17 higher than South Sudan. And I could be so wrong with South Sudan. Like, Puerto Rico could go and beat South Sudan by 20. I could be overrating one game. But at the end of the day, I got to make calls right now. And I got to make this call while delirious at 3 a.m. And I'm going to predict that Puerto Rico go 0 for 3 and finish last in their group. There's no way they finish better than 1 and 2. I'm going to predict 0 for 3 and last in their group. So yeah, that is my prediction for Puerto Rico. So, the Serbian national team, the runners-up at the World Cup. And a lot of people believe they are the biggest threat to Team USA, with arguably the best player in the world. Unless you think healthy Luka is the best, and Luka's not healthy right now. So no, the best player in the world, Nikola Jokic, on their team. This is it. They face Team USA in their first game. And they could potentially face Team USA in the final. This is a team who Nikola Topic was going to be, pre-injury, a top 5 pick, was not going to be on this team. And Nikola Jurisic was not going to be on this team. You have got hoopers all around on this team. Like, you don't make the Serbian team. You see him. Look at even the teams these guys are playing for. Partizan Belgrade, Fenerbahce, Olympiacos. Like, you're not making this team unless you're playing on, like, for Red Star, one of the big EuroLeague teams. The Serbian national team is one of the toughest teams to play. This is a group of players this is a team that will also bring crazy fans. And that might be the one big factor, is that Team USA have to play in Europe. It's not easy, especially if the Serbians have a big home crowd. And I don't know, because it's in France, if they're allowed to be Serbian fans. They're obviously not going to be allowed to bring flares in, but even still, like, some of the constant chanting, they might struggle. They might struggle with that. But you've got really like a big four if you are Serbia. Like Teodosic is gone. What's your man's name? Radolica is gone. So some of the players are gone. Boban's gone. I would have liked to have seen Boban here because I think Boban's still a FIBA can give you something. But you've got a big four that on their day can be the best big four in the tournament. First of all, their young point forward Nikola Jovic was a superstar in the World Cup last year. He was a big reason why they managed to get into the top two in that tournament. 6'10", my prediction for most improved player last year. He is now my prediction for most improved player again because I thought he was going to get into that rotation and make that leap. I think he's going to make the leap this year in the NBA. This guy has the potential to be one of the top 10 wings in the sport of basketball. Not quite there yet, still putting it together, just turned 21. But with what he does well, I think if he does put it together, he can be he's an all-star. Like he is an NBA all-star level player with like the ability to, again, play at the NBA level. And Micic, not an NBA all-star by any means. Like the guy's 30. He was decent. He doesn't play for the Thunder anymore. He didn't get much luck in the Thunder. Fair enough. But then he started doing really well as a backup for the Hornets. So he's a solid player. This guy is a good he's a bad starter, good backup at the NBA level. And we all know that those type of players are some of the best players in international play. As well as that, he's used to the rules. He's a multiple-time EuroLeague MVP. He is exceptional. Again, he's another guy, if he came over earlier to the NBA, is probably a good starter. But in this level type of basketball, he's very, very strong. He was terrible against the USA the first time, but look, we know what type of level player he is. You got a whole bunch of guys playing for 2 or 3 teams. You got multiple Olympiacos players, multiple Partizan players, multiple Red Star players. You got a lot of high level EuroLeague players that are all used to playing with each other. And then you've got their big two. You've got Nikola Jokic, who is the 3-time NBA MVP. He's never been at his best for the national team. The best he has ever played for the national team was in the 2016 Olympics when they made the final. That is the best he's played. And at that stage, he was a rookie. Like, the best he's ever played for Serbia was after his rookie year. In the 2019 World Cup, and by the way, I think he made all NBA first team the next year and then won MVP the year after that. But in the 2019 World Cup, he came off the bench for Boban. So Nikola Jokic has never showed his best form for Serbia. Will he do it at these Olympics? If they want any chance of winning, he has to. He has to be, for them to win, he has to be the best player at this Olympics. But if you ask any Serbian who their best player is, it's this man. It's Bogdan Bogdanovic. For the last 10 years, he's been Serbia's best player. Ever since the 2014 World Cup, after that tournament, where Milos Teodosic started to decline a bit, Bogdan Bogdanovic has been the number one guy for the Serbian national team. He was unbelievable in the 2017 Eurobasket. He was unbelievable in the World Cup in 2019. He was their best player. He obviously didn't make the last Olympics. He was their best player almost any time he plays. If you ask a Serbian who the best player in Serbia is, they're more than likely going to answer this man right here. Bogdan Bogdanovic has the potential to be the best player in this entire tournament. And I don't know what it is, but when he puts on a Serbian jersey, he becomes 75% of the time the best player on the floor. And the only reason I say 75% of the time is that sometimes they're just playing against like an actual just better basketball player than him who's also on form. But the problem is, almost always he has been better than this man anytime the two of them have kitted out for Serbia. And for people saying, oh, USA destroyed Serbia, man, Jokic was just chucking and Micic was just chucking bricks. Like, you could, like, these two are 2 of the 3 most important players to this team. You could argue maybe the top 2. Like, it would not surprise me to see these 2 be Serbia's best 2 players. And that's the whole issue is will Jokic, everyone talks about the international game, all this stuff, but Nikola Jokic has never been at his best in the international game. He's at his best in the NBA game. We talk about Team USA needing to translate. Will Nikola Jokic translate? Because he's missed World Cups. He has missed He didn't make the Olympics in 2021. Like, he has missed opportunities to play with his national team. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Nikola Jokic needs to adapt his game for FIBA. The good thing is you got Micic, you've got these two guys that are both not going to miss chance to play for their country and are both going to be insane. But whether or not they are a losing in the quarterfinal out or championship gold medal contenders is based on the play of Nikola Jokic. Games, I think they lose the first game to Team USA badly. If you are Serbia, the best chance you have of winning is getting destroyed in that first game. If you go and win that game, it's France all over again. They're going to beat you in the final. If you lose that game badly, maybe America lose before the final. Maybe they get complacent. That's really the only way America loses, if they get complacent. They're going to destroy Serbia. Are going to destroy Puerto Rico. They're going to destroy South Sudan. If they lose either of those, I'd be shocked. And then I think they're going to come in second place in their group. They're going to be one of probably the better second place teams. So you're going to face off against either like a France or maybe like an Australia. And I see them beating whoever they play. Whoever they come up against, I see them beating. And then I see them getting into a semi-final against either a Canada or a Germany. And I see them winning that too. My whole thing is that I think they beat every non-USA team. I think the USA are the only team to beat Serbia. But I think USA destroys Serbia anytime they play them. I don't think USA are going to have a close game against Serbia. I think just matchup-wise, they just match up too well to Serbia. They're going to beat them. But I think there's a possibility that Serbia don't face USA in the final and they win. So I think they're gold medal contenders, but only if somebody else knocks out USA, which is unlikely. So yeah, that's my opinion on Serbia. And the final team. I don't know how long this has been going on for. It's 3:20 in the morning right now. The final team is Team USA. And this is the most stacked team. The team that are almost certainly going to win. I want to check the odds. I want to check the odds on Team USA winning the Olympics. There's no way that their odds are going to be ridiculous. So Team USA winning are 1-4. Wow. They're only 4-1 on. If you don't know, Caitlin Clark is 40-1 on. There's a 10 times more for winning Rookie of the Year. There's a 10 times more likely chance, according to the bookies, that Caitlin Clark wins Rookie of the Year than Team USA wins the Olympics. But there is a huge flaw in this team, and no matter how good their coaching staff is, this man right here, they don't have an offense. It is literally your turn, my turn, and pray we get stops. So this team is the most talented USA team there's ever been. And you might be saying, oh, the Dream Team. Most of the Dream Team wasn't in their prime yet. Well, not most. Half the Dream Team was not in their prime. And like even the likes of David Robinson was not in his... He was getting towards his prime. He was not in his prime at that stage. Jordan was in his prime. Magic had retired. Lowry was about to retire. Leitner was Leitner. Stockton... His prime was later on in the 90s. Same with Carmelo. Carmelo was probably there about his prime. Barkley was in his prime. But Ewing, maybe couple of years off. But in a probably early prime. But still, this team, other than LeBron James, Kevin Durant, I still think Steph Curry is quite close to his prime. A lot of these guys are thereabouts their prime. So, the big thing is that Embiid's got to come off the bench. I'm sorry, if there was some deal that he has to start, there is no way because AD has been one of their best players. And also, if Embiid gets in foul trouble, they're going to struggle. Like, we have seen, there are teams that can expose... We saw what Valanciunas did to them. there are bigs that can expose Team USA, and it's not necessarily France's bigs. If you go and face Greece, I think Georgios Papagiannis is going to give a Bam Adebayo or an AD a lot of trouble just because of how large that man is. I think that Embiid's got to be able to stay on the floor. He's really got to be able to stay on the floor. Kevin Durant, the addition of Kevin Durant is going to be huge because LeBron has been their number one option throughout all the pre-Olympic tournaments. I think Kevin Durant becomes their number one offensive option. And I think Steph Curry has been... I don't think Steph Curry... he's going to start because he's Steph Curry. I think it was all said and done, Steph Curry's going to average 10 points a game. If you're asking me who they're... you keep him in the floor for his gravity. But this is not a free-flowing read and react offense where they're passing, moving, shooting like the Golden State Warriors. This is, you get yours, I'm going to get mine. Your turn, my turn. I think Anthony Edwards, as great as he was in the World Cup, I think as the third option instead of first option, I think he might struggle a little bit. But I do think that these two guys are going to be, ironically, it's going to be the 36-year-old and the 39-year-old, I think, to carry the team. I think we see Derek White by the end of this tournament having a bigger role in the team's success than a Jason Tatum. Just with the way the game is. Drew Holiday starting, obviously. Again, if you saw the 2021 Olympics, if Drew Holiday is not there, like a lot of people are complaining about them bringing Drew to that Olympics. If Drew is not there in 2021, they don't win. They actually, not only do they not win, they lose in the quarterfinals. They lose to Spain in the quarterfinals. And then even if they beat Spain in the quarterfinals, they didn't lose to Australia. They dug themselves out of two holes based on Drew Holiday and Kevin Durant. Like, they were their two players. Heck, Drew Holiday dug him out of a hole against the Czech Republic in the group stage. Like, it was that big a situation. I don't see Booker doing much. The only thing is, though, is there's going to be like one game where Tatum dominates. It's going to be like one game where Booker dominates. Tyrese Halliburton, just the way the game is, I don't know why they brought Tyrese Halliburton. I genuinely don't. Okay, yeah, he's going to like push the pace and like pass, but it's like, this is an ISO ball team. Why are you getting a pass first point guard in an ISO ball team? Even though I do think that Tyrese Halliburton was good in all the warm-up games. To be fair, it was really hard to judge anything about our warm-up games because they just kept going 5 on, 5 off very quick. And they just kept, a lot of the time, other than, like, I turned off the Serbia game. Once I saw them play Serbia, just Jokic standing there, shooting dumb shots and them just running, Mitch running like he was a 2K point guard trying to 3-hunt. I'm like, okay, yeah, Serbia are just not showing any of the sets. They're not showing their hand. But this team should have too much talent to lose. They should. They should win all 3 games in the group. They should beat whoever they play in the quarters. They should beat whoever they play in the semis. They should beat whoever they play in the final. There's only one problem with Team USA, and it's the one thing that I've noticed more so than any other country, is that these players care more about making Team USA than they do about winning for their country. Like, you can see it. Like, no other country does their team selection and their jersey presentations before the Olympics seemingly matter more than some of the games they play. Like, you are having, like, this, I'm not saying they don't care about playing for America. Like, Joel Embiid is laughing and joking. He knows. Like, FIBA knows so much that he's lying about playing for Team USA. They made up a fake height for him. They made up a fake height and said he's 6'12". But, like, Joel Embiid is... Look, the man 7 years ago was meant to play for Cameroon, refused. Luka Mbamute's mentor was pissed, then kept saying, I want to play for Cameroon, I want to play for Cameroon. Wrote a letter to the French government saying, I don't want to play for anyone other than France. And the second he got his French passport, said, nah, and went to play for Team USA. Like, Joel Embiid, I'm telling you, if France was better than USA... Obviously, they're not. Team USA is better. But if France was better, and all France needed, let's just say hypothetically, France had the best 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the NBA, and they just needed a center, you better believe Joel Embiid was playing for France. And that's the difference, is that when it comes to international play, The reason why some of these guys get superhuman abilities is because playing for your country matters so much more to a lot of these players than playing for an NBA championship. And every single player on this list would take an NBA championship over winning the Olympics. Whereas every single player on every team they're coming up against, other than maybe Canada, will take winning the Olympics over anything. Like if they won, like if you asked Ginobili, would you trade 4 of your rings for one more Olympic crown? He would say yeah. He would hand in his 4 rings if he won another Olympics. If he was told, you can have your NBA career where you have 4 rings, but it meant that you couldn't have played in the 2004 Olympics, or you could have been forced to stay in Europe your entire life and won the 2004 Olympics, he would choose the Olympics. And that is the only way they lose this game, is loses complacency, effort, or if a team gets hot. So, talent-wise, this team should not lose a game. They should win every game. Talent-wise, they should win every game by 30. They're not going to. They're going to win. There's going to be at least 1 to 2 close games. And I'm making a bold claim. They lose 1 game. I don't know when it's going to be. They lose 1 game. And if they lose to Serbia game 1, raise your damn banner. You're not losing again. Team USA can slip up once. That is just my theory. Is that if you look at the last 3 tournaments they've played, they haven't, like the last time Team USA went undefeated. And by the way, the last time Team USA went undefeated and had less than 2 games decided by 3 or less points was 2014. It's been a decade. It's been a decade since the USA blitzed a tournament. And before that, to be fair, 2010 World Cup, but the last time USA blitzed a tournament, as much as they've been winning, even in the Olympics, they lost to France. They lost twice in the last 2 World Cups. And even the 2016 Olympics, where they did win the final quite comfortably. Australia ran them close. France ran them close. Serbia ran them close. So they're not some unbeatable winning machine. But to say, if you're betting against anyone but Team USA, you're crazy. Who is my prediction? USA out of field? I would... USA. But it's close. Like, I said in the last World Cup that I would take the field. But I thought that USA team was terrible. I said in the last Olympics I would take the field. And Team USA won. In the previous World Cup, I said I'd take the field and they finished 8th or 7th. Whatever position they finished in the World Cup. And in 2016, I said I'd take USA over the field. So this is probably the first time since 2016 I'm going to go for USA over the field. But I think it's very, very close. Like, my prediction at one stage, like it genuinely has changed a few times. Even in the like recording of this part of the video, it has changed quite a few times. But my prediction is USA to... I think I'm going to be crazy to say they're going to lose a game once. I have a weird feeling if they come up against Canada before the final, I think Canada beat them. Like, that's just a weird hunch that I might have. Only before the final. If Team USA get to the final, they are not losing. Team USA in my lifetime, I don't think have lost the final. They're not losing if they get to the final. It is just a situation where you can catch them complacent, and we've seen it happen before. We've seen ultra-talented USA teams lose to much weaker teams because they just get complacent. It's happened 7 or 8 times in my lifetime. It's just, they've been lucky that anytime it's happened in the Olympics, other than 2004 where they lost twice, it has happened early enough that they've been able to bounce back.